What's up, everybody? This is Kyle Thum with Solar Growth, and today what I'm talking about 12 quick pieces of advice for new solar sales reps. So obviously we all come to solar for different reasons, but when we do come to solar, there are kind of like a bunch of kind of basic and simple pieces of advice that I want to give to all new solar sales reps. As someone who has sold solar, as someone who's been new to the industry and who has talked to a lot of people that are in the industry, these are little things that are going to save you a lot of time and a lot of money. So number one, first thing, find a mentor, not a red line. When you come into the industry, a lot of people start working, they don't even know what a red line is. And that is, number one, that is important. But the biggest thing is that a lot of times we see people that are in the Facebook groups that are online and they're looking and they're talking to all these different companies and they're trying to find lowest red line. They go from company A, which is the 240, and they say, oh, well, this company's 235 and this company's 230. And really it's a race to the bottom. And that is great if every single company and every single organization can provide you with the exact same level of service. But most of the time, that's not the case. So rather than trying to find the lowest red line so that you can make the most amount of money, instead try to find yourself a mentor or a manager who's going to be able to help you and guide you. Someone that can teach you how they have found to be successful so that you're able to kind of make your path to success as short as possible. Number two, get it in writing. Super simple. This is not necessarily solar specific, but get it in writing. When you're working with a company, when you're working with a marketing company or lead gen service, a call center, no matter what, you always want to get things in writing, because a lot of times when shit hits the fan, you want to make sure that you have every avenue available to you. This is a mistake that I have personally made, and it's cost me tens of thousands of dollars. And I learned my lesson. Now, anytime I'm entering into those partnerships, if it's something that is going to be long-term, I get it in writing so that I have all my bases covered. Number three, check your ego at the door. I don't care what industry you come from. I don't care how many deals you sold, how much money you sold. I don't care what you have done in the past. Solar is a different beast. Every industry is a different beast. Every industry brings its own unique challenges. And the only way to be successful in solar is to have an open mind, learn from others, and understand that just because you're some hot shot or you think of yourself as some hot shot, you're not going to necessarily find success right away. So come with a growth mindset, be ready to learn, and that's going to save you a ton of time and make it much more likely that you're going to find success sooner rather than later. Number four, learn how to design systems and avoid adders. Understanding how to design systems properly and avoiding adders is extremely, extremely important. Mainly, it's going to save you time during your install process. Because if you don't know how to install something properly, or if you're not quite sure, you don't have the adders in place and you don't have everything lined up at the time of signing, that means that there's going to be changes after they've already signed the deal, which is going to make your process a much bigger headache. Likely that you're going to lose out on some commissions, or likely that you're going to have to go back to your customer and tell them that there were changes that's going to cost them more money. And every time we do that, we increase the likelihood that that deal falls through, and we don't want that. So approach your manager or check out a course like the Solar Academy and take the time to ask questions and say, I want to learn how to design a system properly. Number five, learn about your product so that you can explain it to a 12-year-old. So I thought quite a bit about this, and I said 12-year-old because solar isn't necessarily something that you're going to explain to like a 5-year-old per se. But the reason I say explain it to a 12-year-old is because a lot of times if we come to this industry, it's easy to overcomplicate things. Solar is scientific, there's technology, there's engineering, and there's a whole bunch of stuff that goes into the actual product of solar panels on the roof, inverters to convert the energy. But the big and most important thing is usually the homeowners don't care about that stuff. What they care about most is how it affects them and what they can get from solar, which is savings in their pocket. So make sure that you understand that and communicate it in a way that your customer cares about. It's good to have that extra information about the technology and how things work, and you can even get all nerdy about that stuff if the customer wants you to, but most of the time they don't. So focus in explaining solar, the concept, and understanding the concept so that you're explaining it to the homeowner as if they're a 12-year-old. Don't overcomplicate it, keep it simple, but get to what they care about. Number six, don't be afraid of batteries. A lot of solar sales pros, they seem to be in one of two camps, which is either 100% I always look to sell batteries, or 100% I don't sell batteries at all. And this really isn't the approach if we're thinking about how do we best take care of our customer. So my recommendation is you do have to understand batteries, and you don't want to be afraid of batteries. Don't be one of those people that does 100% with or 100% without. Instead, listen to your customer, talk to the homeowner, understand what their needs are, what their concerns are. And if a battery is able to address those needs and concerns, then you're able to bring it up and make sure to set it up properly. But just because you're new and the battery seems complicated, don't avoid it. There's a lot of times you're gonna be talking to a homeowner and they might not know that they want a battery, but everything they're talking about is screaming, we need a battery in our house. And you wanna make sure that you're able to help them with that. Number 7, learn how to properly size a system. So not only designing the system and putting it on the roof and making sure the adders are right, but understanding how to properly size the system. This requires a lot of knowledge about state and local levels as far as maximum system size and minimum system size, additional fees and costs that might be accrued. And it's your responsibility as the customer's solar advocate to understand that. So once again, talk to your manager, check your training, make sure that you know how to properly size a system. Number 8, use Facebook groups, but use them to network with high performers. So I run one of these Facebook groups. I know there's a lot more, and there's a bunch of them, and there's a lot of drama and a lot of entertainment and a lot of nonsense that goes on in those groups that is fun and it is entertaining, but it's not necessarily the best use of our time. But one of the biggest things about those groups is that it allows you to network and connect with high performing individuals in this industry. So even if you don't have a mentor or a manager or someone that's working directly with you that you feel like you can go and ask questions or get the information that you're looking for, you have the ability to identify those people in these groups and then to present yourself and provide value to them in any way possible. High performers are busy, so it's not like you're just gonna be able to DM them and say, hey, I need help with this. Hey, I need help with this. Hey, I need help with this. But you are able to identify those high performers and start to provide them with value, build a relationship, and eventually you're gonna have a network of these high performing individuals that you can bounce ideas off of as well as get information from. And that is the most important thing that you can do within these Facebook groups. Number 9, huge tip almost anywhere, any industry, any job, but in solar as well, don't be afraid to ask for help. So understand where you can go to get the answers that you need. If it's something that can easily be found in a readily available resource, and yeah, it might be a dumb question. But at the same time, if you look at the resources, if you've been directed and you've looked and tried to find the answer and you can't find it, then you're able to go to those mentors or managers or people in the Facebook groups and ask them those questions. So don't be afraid to ask questions. It's better to ask questions than to sell a crappy deal or accidentally cost a homeowner a lot of money and make them upset. We're all here to make the industry grow, and it starts with new solar reps asking questions. Number 10, learn how to use social media for organic sales. So the word organic means using social media not for paid ads, not for lead generation, but for organic sales. And so this is social media marketing and content marketing. Researching and understanding who your potential customers are, what it is that they care about, how do they consume content, and how can I create content that's gonna either entertain or educate them. Not pushing for the sale every single post, but rather helping them and reminding them what it is that you do and the people that you help. When you do this effectively, you're gonna be top of mind. You're gonna have people that you haven't talked to in 5, 10 years that are gonna be reaching out to you because they've been thinking about going solar, and those are the absolute best leads to work with. So learn how to use Facebook and social media to get organic leads. Number 11, remember to take care of the customer all the way to and past install rather than just to signing. This is something that affects solar a little bit more than some other similar industries because solar does have a long sales cycle. A lot of times we're waiting for permits, we're waiting for things to happen so that the project's actually gonna get installed. And when we're doing that waiting, we're not the only ones waiting, the customer is too. And what happens is a lot of times if we celebrate, like we get all excited because we signed a new customer, like it's awesome, and it is, but we kind of stop doing the work at that point. And when we do that, we see a lot of cancellations. A lot of deals fall through just because the homeowner doesn't know what's happening, doesn't understand the process, and then they start to get unsure and they feel uncertain about going solar. And so we can avoid that just by remembering that signing the documents, yeah, it's cool, but in the end, it doesn't matter. A closed deal is when glass goes on the roof. And when glass is on the roof, when the project has been installed, number one, that's when you're going to get your pay. But at the same time, in order for us to, we don't want to forget about customers. We don't want to let them get lost on the journey. So remember to take care of your customers, not only to install, but past install. Signing is just one of the first steps on that journey. Lastly, this is a really actionable tip. If you're new to solar, close at least 5 deals before ever even thinking about spending a penny on online leads. I say this as an online marketing guy. I understand that there's a bunch of different reasons why online leads don't work. There's a bunch of reasons why solar reps fail when they start calling on online leads for the first time. Sometimes it is the marketing side's fault, sometimes it's the sales side's fault. But the biggest thing you can do is that you want to make sure that you're confident on everything on your side. You're confident in creating the proposal, you're confident in closing the deal, you're confident in what the next step is at every single part of the process. And when you are confident and comfortable in your performance, that is the only time that you should go and look at online leads. Because when you're talking about having an acquisition cost of $500 to $1,500 per deal, you want to make sure that you're being efficient. Otherwise, you're going to be spending thousands of dollars. And if you're not closing or you're not handling your customers the way that you should, then that acquisition cost is going to go really, really high. And rather than spending your time and your energy on learning solar, you're going to be spending your money on learning solar. And that's just not as fun of a road. If you don't learn lessons like this, it can be a frustrating and time-consuming journey. And that's the reason why I'm finally starting to create content that's in the form of course and lessons to help people with their marketing. And to do that, I partnered with Joe and Jake over at the Solar Academy. And the reason I'm such a big advocate is because there is a lot of different moving parts. There's a lot of things that go into being a successful solar sales rep. There's the marketing, there's the closing, there's the overcoming objections, there's the appointment setting, there's designing a system, there's building a team. There's all these different kind of areas that you really need to master if you want to become a master of your craft. And until now, there hasn't really been a resource where you can get all of that in one place. So if you are a solar rep who wants help with these types of lessons, then send me an email at kyle@measuresolar.com and I will be able to reply to it and help you and point you into whatever direction you might need help with so that you can become a incredible solar sales pro that's focused on helping the customer the right way, and in doing so, creating a lasting and reputable brand that's going to keep food on the table for years to come. So once again, my name is Kyle Thum. I hope that you enjoyed or learned something from this video. And until next time, let's grow.